Thank you all for joining us today. I'm Jay Burby. I'm president of the Attleboro Land Trust. On behalf of the Land Trust and the city, we'd like to welcome you to the opening of the Larry St. Pierre Trail at the city's Handy Conservation Area. I did not have the opportunity to meet Larry, but given he was a founding member of our land trust and served as the president for many of the years of the early years of our organization, I can assure you his legacy is felt to this day in the spirit behind our mission, each acre of land we preserve, and our partnership with the city and other conservation groups. Last year, I was doing some research for the 25th anniversary of the Attleboro Community Garden, another group partnership between the city and the Land Trust. And I came across an article which, in the paper, which Larry, the president at that time, had been quoted. This was in 1999. It was something along the lines of, "We were happy with the project. It worked out nicely." Now, given Larry's background, I'm going to doubt that he was a man of such few words. I'm guessing the newspaper was probably running out of space that day. But given the fact that I am a man of few words, I'm not going to try to say any better than Larry. 25 years later, our projects are still working out nicely. I'm sure Larry would be pleased to know that a trail named after him is being enjoyed by city residents and serving as a reminder of the importance the city and its partner conservation organizations place on preserving open space and creating areas where city residents will enjoy the outdoors. I'd like to introduce another founder of the Land Trust, Charlie Adler. Charlie continues to lead most of our property management efforts and spearheaded most of the work on the trail we're going to enjoy today. Thank you, Charlie, and I'll pass the mic to you.
Thank you, Jay. This 80-acre preserve is owned by the city of Attleboro, but the process of raising the funds to save it came about through a partnership, as Jay mentioned, with the city, the Attleboro Land Trust, and Mass Audubon, who all worked together to win grants from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and private foundations. And certainly instrumental to all of that was Gary Arazian, our Director of Planning and Development, who's here today. An earlier accomplishment of this same partnership was working with La Salette Shrine to preserve 117 acres of its land, now known as Attleboro Springs, and owned by Mass Audubon. The acquisition of the Richardson Preserve over on Wilmarth Street, now owned by the Attleboro Land Trust, was yet another accomplishment of this partnership. The three partners teamed up again to form Hike Attleboro as a way to raise awareness of the many hiking opportunities in the city using a single brand. With this as background, I'm sure you will not be surprised when I tell you that the trail we are dedicating today came about through close collaboration, again, as Jay mentioned, between the Attleboro Land Trust and the City of Attleboro's Conservation Commission. We approached the Conservation Commission 3 years ago to ask if we could dedicate a trail on the Handy Street Conservation Area in memory of Larry. The Commission agreed and gave us the go-ahead. We then tried to make sense of the maze of trails that already existed on the property, getting lost more than once in the process. Eventually, we settled on a route. Eagle candidate Jason Zanofsky agreed to take on the project of putting up a signpost at each of the 34 junctions on the trail route. It was a daunting task. Jason and his volunteers tried using a gasoline-powered auger, but it was no match for the rock and hardpan they struck. So most of the post holes had to be completed by hand. I have a bit more to say about the trail, but first I would like to introduce our honored guests. And first I'd like to introduce Mayor Cathleen DeSimone, who has a few remarks.
Thank you, Charlie. Good afternoon, everybody. It is yet another beautiful day in the city of Attleboro. And it never ceases to amaze me that in a city the size of Attleboro, the amount of open space that we have, and equally the amount of people who value and treasure and work to protect it and acquire it is absolutely amazing. And it is truly, I think, what sets us apart from other local municipalities. So I'm very happy to be here at the Larry St. Pierre Trail dedication. And I prepared a certificate in Larry's honor. I don't know, Donna, if you want to come up, and your son, if I may. And I cannot think of any better way to honor someone than to mark a trail in beautiful nature. So it's a fitting tribute, I think, to your husband and all the great work that your dad did. So congratulations.
Thank you.
So on behalf... On behalf of the City of Attleboro, I present to you the Larry St. Pierre Trail dedication on June 1st, 2024. Whereas today we honor the late Larry St. Pierre, who played a key role in the founding of the Attleboro Land Trust in 1990 and was author of its charter. And whereas Larry St. Pierre was president of the Attleboro Land Trust from 1991 to 94 and 97 to 2001, and chaired the Land Acquisition Committee from 2001 to 2006. And whereas Larry St. Pierre continuously served on the Attleboro Land Trust Board of Directors until his death in 2017. And whereas we are gathered here today on this beautiful day to pay tribute to Larry St. Pierre by dedicating the trail at the Handy Street Conservation Area in honor of his memory. Now, therefore, I, Cathleen DeSimone, Mayor of the City of Attleboro, do hereby proclaim June 1st, 2024 to be the dedication of the Larry St. Pierre Trail, and I ask all citizens to recognize Larry St. Pierre for his lifetime as leadership and the conservation of open space in the City of Attleboro. Thank you. Thank you, Donna. Thank you. And I should say, I want to give a shout out and many kudos to Charlie and the great work of the Attleboro Land Trust all these years, and of course to the Attleboro City Planning Department and my good friend and one of the hardest working people in the city, Gary Arasian, and to everybody and anybody who contributes to the cause, who shows up these events, who signs petitions, who comes to open hearings and does everything that you can to preserve the valuable open space that we have in the city of Attleboro. Thank you all very much for your hard work.
Thank you, Kathleen. And now I'd like to introduce Jim Hawkins, representative of our district, the 2nd Bristol.
Thank you. I think this is an incredible day for Attleboro. We're known for our wonderful zoo, our wonderful schools, our wonderful hospital. And what a lot of people don't know is the incredible amount of green space in this city. We're a gateway city, and we have so much green space. And this is not just an accident that this happens. This is the good work of Jay Burby, of Charlie Adler, of Gary Arasian, of the mayor, of a whole lot of people, Eagle Scouts that help make this trail function. I'm trying to make a list before I get up to speak. I can't even think how many people it takes to make this happen. And we're very fortunate. This is one of the things that makes Attleboro a very cool place to live. So thank you, everybody that has to do with this.
Thank you, Jim. And now I'd like to introduce Nick Wyllie, our conservation agent, speaking on behalf of the Conservation Commission.
Hello, everyone. Thank you all for being here. It's an absolute gorgeous day. I can't think of a better way to spend our afternoon than being at one of our beautiful pieces of open space here. I just want to give an absolute special thank you to the Attleboro Land Trust, Mass Audubon. Ever since I started as the conservation agent 7 years ago, they have been absolutely incredible partners in helping us protect, preserve, and acquire more open space for all of our residents to enjoy here. It's also extra special thank you to Charlie Adler, who has been an absolute phenomenal partner and friend to the commission. He was instrumental in putting on today's dedication, so please give him a round of applause. I also want to thank our partners. We have a couple of Eagle Scouts here today. They have been absolutely tremendous in helping us mark these trails and make it more accessible. In particular, Jason Zanofsky came out here with his fellow troop mates and marked the entire Larry St. Pierre Trail. Excellent job by him. Christopher Vallejos came out here, made a phenomenal boardwalk in one of the wettest parts of the trail. That way everyone can, hopefully we're going to stay dry today during the walk. And then also extra special thank you to Rafia Joseph, who just recently completed his Eagle Scout project, continuing the trails and marking them from our Handy Street Conservation Area out towards Hyman Fine Elementary School, and then continuing on to Wamsutta Middle School. So please give all these Eagle Scouts a big round of applause. So thank you all for being here on behalf of the Conservation Commission. We absolutely thank you all. Big thank you to Larry St. Pierre. Unfortunately, I never had the pleasure to meet Larry myself, but it's because of people like Larry that we're able to enjoy spaces like these today and for generations to come. So thank you all.
Thank you, Nick. I was going to introduce the Eagle Scouts as well. Now, let me just say that the one I worked with most closely with, Jason Zanofsky, today is his Eagle Court of Honor. He's getting the award today, so he couldn't be with us for that. And I had said to Christopher and Rafaya that you didn't need to speak, but Christopher, would you want to say anything, or are you good? Yeah, sure. Okay.
Hi everyone, I'm so glad to be here. I just want to say thank you to my mom and dad for helping me out with everything through the hot summer days that we were working out here, even in the cold when we first finally explored the trail, and even buying the materials that we needed. When I knew nothing about the wood, my dad helped me through every step of the way, and my mom helped to make sure everything went smoothly. And especially to my Troop 25 for coming out to the fundraising days, for coming out to the building days. I just want to say thank you to everyone.
So if you do take the guided walk, you will be walking over the boardwalk that Christopher and his volunteer team created. And Rafaya, would you like to say anything? Or?
I would like to give a big thank you to my family and my troop 314. We spent a lot of time on this trail, a couple of days during it, putting up the posts. And I know it was hard going through the muddy puddles and everything. We were borderline swimming through them, but it was fun, the whole process of it. And I just want to say thank you.
Now, Rafaya's trail project is actually an extension, so it wasn't planned as part of the guided walk. It connects off of the loop of the guided walk. There may be an opportunity if anyone wants to take that extra walk. They could veer off down toward Locust Street, but we'll work that out when we begin the walk. The history of this piece of property is complicated. Gary Crofta, who will be leading the guided walk today, is pretty good at reading a landscape. He can usually recognize whether a land formation is natural or man-made. This landscape has been subject to the whims of nature and of humankind, both of which have left their marks. Old U.S. Geological Survey maps indicate that there were at least 4 gravel pits operating here in the last century. Some of the plant species that have reclaimed these gravel pits are very undesirable invasives. The trails throughout the property carry the signatures of all-terrain vehicles in their deep ruts and high banks. Odd bits of metal and plastic stick out of the ground. We have flagged examples of some of those in this parking lot so you won't trip on them. We have also flagged some giant anthills, as those could prove to be a natural hazard if disturbed. So you might say that the Handy Street Conservation Area is an area not so much to be managed as to be tamed. As many of you may have heard, the nearby Locust Valley Golf Course has been selected to play the part of New York's Central Park in a post-apocalyptic television series. Handy Street, I think you should have auditioned for that part. But there is also good news. Some of the regeneration that has occurred naturally in the preserve has resulted in communities of all native species. Gary can point out some of those areas on the guided walk. One more point about the condition of the trail today. The trail is still a work in progress. There are many places on the trail that are conducive to the formation of mud puddles, and this has been an especially wet spring. One permanent boardwalk has been completed, and my thanks especially to Scott, Phil, and Ken for all the work they put in on putting in these temporary boardwalks so that we could negotiate the trail today. There's also going to be one slight detour off the main trail. There are places where the ground is a bit squishy. So if you find the temporary boardwalks are not your cup of tea, or you don't have the sufficient footwear to manage that, you can turn back at any time on the walk if the going gets tough for you. So that's just a little preparation for the guided walk, but now let's focus on the dedication. And first I want to introduce and ask Linda St. Pierre, Larry's sister, to come up and say a few words.
Okay, and this is Larry's youngest brother, Michael.
Yeah, I'm not
Okay.
Linda. So I
Oh, wait a minute, I gotta do this
Oh,
first
okay.
and then, okay. So, all I can say is what a beautiful day Mother Nature has bestowed upon us to celebrate our brother Larry, a true steward of the earth. And our family would like to thank the following: the Attleboro Conservation Committee for its approval and support of the Larry St. Pierre Trail naming, and the Attleboro Land Trust for providing the signing and enlistments of the Eagle candidates to put up the trail markers, and everyone else that was involved. Now, Michael has a couple of thoughts he wants to share before I segue into my bit.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for coming out. A beautiful day in honor of my brother Larry. My name's Michael St. Pierre. I am the youngest brother of Larry St. Pierre by 12 years, and I am the youngest of the 7 siblings of the St. Pierre family. So growing up on Park Street, right down the street here, we grew up in these trails. We played day after day after day, hiking in these trails, riding our BMX bikes and all that kind of stuff, frogging and swamping and building forts and doing all sorts of stuff from behind our house on Park Street, trails all the way out through behind La Salette, down to my grandfather's farm on Park Street, which is no longer there. It's all homes now. And all the way down to Brookhaven Apartments and Locust Valley. Well, these trails are all connected in some way, shape, or form. And I'd like to thank the Scouts, Chris and crew. Thank you very much in honor of my brother, who was also a Scout. He would be so excited to see the work that you guys have done. So, again, thank you very much, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
And I have to say, I think out of all those adventures Michael just spoke of, Larry was the most adventurous. Larry was a thinker, which may be why he truly enjoyed being outdoors every moment possible. And maybe also that was because there were 7 siblings in 5 rooms in 1 apartment. Try that one. Larry enjoyed being outdoors so much that one day he up and left the St. Pierre homestead by himself to go exploring. He was 5 or 6 years old at that time. When our parents discovered Larry was not in the yard where he was supposed to be, they began to search for him, along with our dad's sister and brother. The search continued out behind where Hope Garden is, out behind La Salette, which abutted our home. It had been about 30 minutes and our parents were getting nervous. Knowing Larry, he could have been anywhere because he just loved to walk, loved to hike. At that point, some of the priests and brothers also joined in the search. With extra help, Larry was located way out in the woods behind the provincial house that was up on the hill. He was way out there. Larry's story to Mom and Dad was that he was walking in the woods and having a lovely time until a dog came running through the woods and chased him. We didn't have pets, so Larry wasn't really used to that. He ran from the dog, which eventually led him to climb up a tree. And that's where the search team found him. My mother loved telling that story. Larry grew up and died in his beloved city of Attleboro. Along with his career, he was a book lover, a history fanatic, and a nature lover. He enjoyed camping and hiking alone and with his family. He was a Boy Scout, which led him to become a Boy Scout leader. As a preteen, Larry campaigned for John F. Kennedy in 1960. In the mid-60s, Larry dipped his toes into politics. Some of you may or may not be familiar, because you might not be old enough, with a long-ago place called Susie Cream Cheese Coffee House in downtown Attleboro. I don't know if anybody remembers that. It was held in a rundown bowling alley on Bank Street, and it was the place to go when you were in high school. and it was a perfect place for teens to hang out and bands to play their music. But it got shut down. It wasn't safe. At that time, Larry led a delegation of teens to a city council meeting to request the city take over the building and make it a youth center, which is what eventually happened. After Larry graduated from college, he campaigned for Jimmy Carter and became more involved with city politics. In the early 70s, he was elected, at that time, the youngest city councilor. He also ran for mayor. That didn't work out. But Larry continued with his service, served on the Zoning Board of Appeals. He became a founder and past president of the Attleboro Land Trust, a director for Habitat for Humanity, and a member of the Attleboro Historical Society. Larry was also, some people may not know this, Larry was also one of the original team members, along with Dave Perry Sr., Emily Johnson, two Lassalette priests, and myself, who we all had a vision to make the sanctuary behind the provincial house come to fruition. At that time, we had maps, we had all kinds of different things going on and whatnot and stuff. Unfortunately, at that time, it did not come to fruition, and it was put on the back shelf. But years later, when the Attleboro Springs Wildlife Sanctuary came to fruition, Larry was more than thrilled. We as a family know that Larry, along with our mom, dad, and our brother, are looking down on all of us with pride and joy today. And again, thank you to all of you who made this happen.
Thank you, Linda and Michael. I first met Larry St. Pierre on April 11th, 1990 at the founding meeting of the Attleboro Land Trust. The concern that was uppermost in the minds of everyone at that meeting was the threat that hundreds of homes would be built in Locust Valley. Larry enthusiastically volunteered to chair the committee that wrote the charter that was necessary for the Land Trust to qualify for incorporation as a nonprofit. And he went on to serve in many capacities over the years, including 7 years as president. Larry was actively involved in all of the land acquisitions that had happened in that land trust's first decade. As Linda mentioned, his civic involvement also included service on the zoning board, the municipal council, a run for mayor at the age of 25. There's so much to know about Larry. He was an avid local historian. He and Donna ran a used bookstore in their spare time, a place where you could find lots of books on local history. Donna continues that enterprise to this day. I didn't know about his grandparents' farm in Park Street, but I found a video on YouTube of an event back in 2001 in which Larry recalled the wonderful times he had with his family on that farm. The sign we are about to unveil draws on those memories. Please go ahead, Josh and Donna. Let me take that. I'd like to close with just a short words of dedication here. We dedicate this trail to the memory of Lawrence David St. Pierre in recognition of his lifetime of leadership in the conservation of open space in Attleboro. May the deep connection that Larry had to this land resonate with all who visit this preserve and walk this trail. Thank you all.